Every ultimate experience Ireland has to offer is always within reach with a 182 BMW. The ultimate bowl of chowder, seasoned with Atlantic salt air, the ultimate swim spot, even the ultimate scenic shortcut that happily takes way, way longer. Experience the ultimate with a 24-hour test drive from your local BMW retailer, because owning your new BMW is always within reach. Visit bmw182.ie.
Welcome to the Empowerment Hour, a podcast dedicated to the woman ready to take charge of her life, live in her purpose, and be unapologetically authentic. I am your host, Nancy Ruffin, award-winning author, proud wife and mother, and the self-proclaimed Latina Oprah. I am obsessed with seeing women discover their purpose and live up to their fullest potential. My goal is to empower you, inspire you, and help you unlock your passions and discover your purpose so that you live the most fulfilled and impassioned life. If you're ready to make a change and start living on purpose, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey guys, thank you for joining me on another week of the Empowerment Hour podcast. This has quickly become one of my favorite mediums of connecting with you all, mostly because I get to talk to you about my process, about my journey, about all of the things that have helped me, the things that inspire me. And it really helps me to have a one-on-one connection with you guys. So thank you to all of you who listen on a weekly basis. Thank you for your comments, for your feedback, just for hanging in there with me, because I really do this for you guys. And this week, I want to talk about the importance of doing the work. Okay, and that is in relation to almost every area of our lives, whether it's in our day-to-day jobs, whether it's in the pursuit of our dreams and our passions, whether it's channeling our creativity, whatever it may be. Nothing comes to fruition without doing the work. And what I mean is we can have tons of ideas. We can create dozens of vision boards. We can glue, our dreams and our pictures and all of these things on our poster boards. But without creating, a plan on how to get there, and it's what I like to call in my vision board workshops, creating the roadmap, and following through, all of the things that we want for ourselves merely stay in our heads, right? They don't come to fruition. They don't become these tangible things that we can feel and touch and experience without putting in the work. And one of the things, or one of the questions I get most, especially being a writer and a published writer, is people always ask me about the publishing process and how they can go about writing a book. Now, I have to be honest with you that this is probably one of my greatest pet peeves, because 99.9% of the time, when people ask me about how to get published or how to write a book, they haven't even written a word. They have no manuscript. They have no chapters. They have nothing. And so my immediate response to them is always, well, do you have a manuscript? And they don't. And so my thing is, how could you possibly be thinking about publishing when you have nothing to publish? All of us, we all have stories, right? We all have these lives and these experiences that we think are worthy to be told. And yes, they are, right? Because if we don't tell our stories, who's going to tell them? But you have to do the work. You have to sit with yourself. You have to get behind that computer. You have to put the pencil to the paper and start writing. Until you actually get in the business of writing, you have nothing to publish. And so it always baffles me. I always sit confused as to why someone would want to know anything about the publishing process when they haven't written a book. And for me, if they're coming to me for advice or for suggestions or for whatever, the questions they should be asking me are, how can I improve my craft? How can I discover my voice? Are there any workshops that you can recommend that would help me, dig into these stories that I want to tell? Because writing is not an easy thing. Okay, writers, real writers, we are investing in that craft every single day. And the way that we do that is by writing. Okay, so if you haven't written anything, if you're not publishing blogs, if you're not writing essays, even if you're not journaling, you have no business thinking about publishing anything. Okay, and so it frustrates me, and I'm a little passionate about this subject because it almost is, or it leads me to believe that people think that this writing thing is easy, and it absolutely is not. Okay, there are for real writers and for the people who are putting in the work, these are difficult things that we go through. Okay, in order to get out stories that are touching or that are going to be impactful, you have no idea the amount of internal soul searching that we have to go through. It's the reliving of certain, in some instances, traumatic experiences for us. And for someone to come and almost devalue that as if this writing thing is easy, it's just, it does a disservice. And it's almost like a slap in the face for those of us who are really invested in this. So if you're someone who is interested in writing your own story, in publishing your own story, and you're looking for advice from any writer, make sure that you have done the work. Make sure that you have a manuscript ready to go. Make sure that you have attended workshops. And these workshops and writing residencies, some of them, they're not cheap, but there are many within the New York City tri-state area that are free. And I know excellent writers who offer affordable workshops. So now, if you're really real about writing, and if you're really committed to that and you want to improve your skills, then get at me. I will help you. I will guide you in the right direction. But if you're only doing it because you want to attach the label writer to yourself, don't come to me. If you're only doing it because you want the accolades and the recognition that comes with saying that you're a writer, don't come to me, because I only want people who are committed to doing the work. And so I share this specific example because I think that a lot of times, even when it comes to business, there are many who don't want to do the work. They don't want to start at the bottom. They automatically want to shoot to the top at CEO status. That person gets all the recognition, the person that people are calling to interview and to seek advice from. And a lot of times people they just want the recognition. They don't want to roll up their sleeves and do the dirty work. And the thing is that without getting in on the ground level, you're never going to have a true appreciation for that success when it comes. I have an entire chapter in my book, Live on Purpose, that is dedicated to this very subject, and it's entitled, You Gotta Do the Work. And the reason why I dedicated an entire chapter to that is because when we're pursuing our dreams, there are no shortcuts. Okay, and so I need for people to understand that having the vision, having the belief is only a part of the process. Without really getting down, on your hands and knees and doing the work, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And one of the things that I often say about myself is that the only thing greater than my ambition is my hustle. Yeah, and so for those of you who follow me on social media, for those of you who know me in real life, you know that I'm all about the hustle. I'm constantly grinding. I'm constantly working. I get very limited amount of sleep, primarily because I have so many different things that I have to do throughout my day that it literally takes me probably 12 to 15 hours um, to just do the basic things in my life. Okay, and that means working my day job. It requires me being a mom, being a wife, being a friend, sister, all of these other things. And so it isn't until after hours that I really have time to focus on the things that I'm passionate about. And so you have to be clear on your time. You have to understand what the priorities are, and then you have to learn how to balance those priorities, right? Now, for me, the things that I'm passionate about are important to me and they are a priority. However, I have to make sure that my home is taken care of first. And that means I have to make sure that the kids are taken care of. I have to make sure that my husband is taken care of. But by the same token, because my husband knows that the things I'm passionate about are important to me, he helps facilitate that. So he helps me pursue my dreams. He picks up the slack in certain areas. And so I really want you to think about how you're actively working towards making your vision a reality. Because the bottom line is that without work, we're not going to see results. Because it's great to have a vision, it's great to have ideas, but without putting them into action, then that's all they become. When I think about a lot of the modern day things that we use in our everyday life, for the most part, they started off as ideas and thoughts in someone's mind, right? When we think about microwaves, when we think about laptops, when we think about our smartphones, even the internet and social media, these were all ideas in someone's head, right? But without the follow through, they would have just remained ideas. We never would have had the ease and quickness to cook and warm up our foods, right? Without the use of microwaves, without the use of the internet and our smartphones, we wouldn't be easily connected and accessible to one another, right? Probably right now, the majority of you are listening to this podcast on your smartphone. So you have to pay attention to, all of the things that we use in our everyday life that we take for granted, but understand that there was a point when none of these things existed for us, right? And for those of us who have children, they're never going to know what a world without a computer is like. They're never going to know a world without the internet. When I think about the benefit that the internet provides, with the fact that we have information literally right within our fingertips. I remember when I was younger and I had to do reports for school, there wasn't Google for me. I had to go to the library. I had to look in encyclopedias. Okay, if we mention encyclopedias to the youth of today, they'll look at us like we're crazy. The majority of them will have no idea what we're talking about. But all of these things are possible because someone had the foresight to think about these inventions, and they also had the tenacity to follow through. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about your own dreams and your own passions and your own visions, and how are you following through on a daily basis? Because there's no such thing as an overnight success, right? Those overnight successes were years in the making. So think about that. Think about what that process is like for you. And then, do you even have a roadmap? Guys, and if you don't, then I encourage you to go head over to my website and purchase my vision board workshop e-course. It's only $25, but I provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to not only get your vision down on paper, but I help you identify roadblocks that may arise. I help you to create that road plan. I help you set smart goals with specific deadlines, all of these things to help you really stay the course in pursuit of your dreams. And it's important, especially if you believe in yourself, especially if you know without a doubt that you're going to be successful if you only commit to yourself. How committed are you? I want you to take a second and if you have a journal, tonight I want you to meditate on that question. How committed am I? And then I want you to sit there and think about it. Think about all of the actions that you take daily that are committed to your dreams. But by the same token, I also want you to think about how many times you allow yourself to be distracted and how you allow external influences or outside influences to come in between you and your dream. Because it's important to identify that. Once you identify those things that keep you from pursuing your dreams, you can learn to mitigate that. You can learn to tackle it. And eventually you can learn how to eliminate that so that you're not being distracted from your dreams. And once you eliminate that, you can fill that time with value-added experiences and value-added work that is going to contribute to the manifestation of your dream. I can't tell you how many people I know who pretty much just sit back waiting for something to happen to them. They're waiting to be discovered. They're waiting for a handout, not realizing that no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to give you your dream on a silver platter. Okay, if you're not actively working towards it, how do you think that that's going to manifest? How do you think that's going to manifest itself? I get so passionate about this. I often get tongue-tied, but it's because I truly believe in the power that we all have to make our dreams come true. I've seen it happen so many times in my own life. With the birth of my daughters, they were both just dreams at one point that I had. And if you've followed my work, if you've read my first book, I go into great detail about what that journey for motherhood was like. It was not an easy journey for me. It was something that, unfortunately, my husband and I had to actively work towards. It required, fertility doctors. It required me overcoming the devastation of a miscarriage. So it was all of these obstacles that have presented themselves while on my journey to motherhood that were designed to keep me back. That were designed to prevent me from realizing my dream. And so I had a choice to make. I could allow these things to stop me, or I could forge ahead. I could allow my determination, my perseverance, and my belief in my desire to become a mother to push me forward. And it did. And because of that, my oldest daughter was born. And because I had that same passion and belief, because I always wanted a second child, that was how my youngest daughter manifested herself, and so you have to be your biggest advocate. You have to be the one that pushes yourself because there's not going to be anyone there to do it. To be honest, half the time people want to see you lose, okay? Because if you lose, then it makes them feel better about themselves. People can't stand to see someone winning, to see someone happy, to see someone living their dreams. Okay, so you have to succeed in spite of those people. I know people who I was once close to who have purposely tried to sabotage me and some of my events. But you know what? You got to keep pushing through, because at the end of the day, what those people are going through is more of a reflection of them and where they are than it is of you and your process. Okay, and a lot of times they're there only to distract you and only to keep you away from your focus. So you can't allow them to win. you have to succeed by any means necessary. So again, you can't wait for some miracle to change your life. We create our own miracles. And in order for miracles to happen, we have to actively participate in the manifestation of miracles. Okay? It's not enough to just wish our dreams into reality. We create miracles when we have a clear vision. And this is something that I talk about a lot. I talked about it in my last podcast. You have to have a clear vision. You have to have a positive outlook. And you got to make moves. You can't just sit and wait for someone to push you, to move you. That's not going to happen. Action is what makes miracles happen. Now, how exactly do we do that? Well, you do that by being active, an active participant in the creation of the idea. Okay, and what I mean by that is you have to strategize, you have to visualize, you have to plan, and then you have to execute. You have to do. When you contribute to making things happen, they eventually happen. All right, sometimes they happen quickly, but more often than not, it's going to take time. Okay, so either way, nothing ever comes into fruition without actively working towards it. Now, when I conduct my vision board workshops, one of the things that I have my attendees do is identify their goals. And the reason I do that is because when we take time to look at our dreams and break them down into goals, really what we're doing is setting the foundation for that dream to come into fruition, right? Because a goal is something we want bad enough that we make an effort to reach it. So it is a desired result of what you envision. Okay, and so what you envision, when you plan it and when you commit to it, eventually you're going to achieve it. Okay, and so I don't want you to get that confused with a want, because a goal and a want are two really separate things, right? Because a want is just something that we want. There's no real foundation behind that. You want something and you just want it because you want it. But when you have a goal, you've created a plan. You've set a deadline. You've outlined the steps that you need to take in order to accomplish that goal. And so I'm going to give you a really quick example. So let's say a person wants a nicer car than they currently afford, right? Or that they can currently afford to own. The fact that they want a nicer car is not necessarily a goal. It's just something that they want. However, when you break that down and when you really say, okay, I want a new car, you identify the car that you want, then you figure out how much more that car is going to cost you from the one that you currently own. Then you create a budget, or you figure out how you're going to come up with the extra cash in order to pay for that nicer car. So while you can dream about what it's like to drive in that fancy car, while you can envision yourself behind the wheel of it and the attention that you might get, until you're really ready to work towards making that a reality, then it's just a want, right? It's just a fantasy. And so you have to really set yourself up to do the things that are necessary to get you to that end goal. And the reality is that when we want something, we often call it our dream, but without action, that dream can never really materialize, right? Let's take Beyonce or Oprah or Jennifer Lopez, for instance. Each one of these women are at the top of their industry. And for those of you who know, I am an Oprah stan, right? I love her, right? I'm the Latina Oprah. But they're each at the top of their game. Now, they never would have achieved their dreams by sitting back and doing nothing. And one of the things that I think is very clear and apparent about all these women is that they work their asses off. Okay, J-Lo and Beyonce are mothers, but they're also business women. Okay, and so we see them out there, we see them hustling, and we see Oprah, as successful as she is, she's constantly giving back to her community. And these are each women who Oprah started from nothing, right? She was basically a poor black girl. And J-Lo and Beyonce both grew up in middle class homes. Okay, so these are not women who were born rich or who were born into the lifestyle that they currently lead. However, with hard work and determination, we've had front row seats, really, to the manifestation of their dreams. I mean, I remember when Beyonce first came out in Destiny's Child. I remember when I first saw their video for, I forgot but it was their video with Wyclef, that first single that they made. I remember when they first came on the scene. And so to see Beyonce's growth from that to where she currently is absolutely makes me believe that I can manifest my wildest dreams. And it's what I want for you all. And it's why I do this podcast. It's why I do the workshops that I do. It's why I write the books that I write. Because I want you and I want people to understand that in order to make anything happen, you have to do the work. You have to be willing to put in the time that others are not. Because that is how the winners, that's how you differentiate the winners. Okay, and that's how you differentiate the people who are really successful and who are really going to thrive and who are really meant to be on top. Okay, not everyone is meant to be on top because not everyone is willing to do what's necessary to get there. So we can wish and want and pray for our dreams to come true, but no matter how much we may want something and no matter how much fun it is to think about dreams, they are not goals until we are prepared to work on turning them into reality. Okay, so you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to make your dreams come true. And one of the most important ways to start setting goals and to start working towards them is being clear on what that dream is, being clear on what the vision for your life is, or the vision or the mission for your company. Whatever it is that you're focusing on creating, you have to be clear on its purpose. Okay, I often get people who reach out to me because they want me to help them write their bios or write their about me section on their website. And the first thing I ask them before anything is, okay, what is the mission and vision for yourself or for your company? And if a person cannot tell me in any uncertain terms what that is, then really they have no business being in business. Because until you can clearly state what your company's purpose is or what your own purpose is, you're not going to be successful. And the reason I say that is because you're always going to be trying to figure that out. You're going to be latching on to whatever the current hot thing is because you're not sure on who you are, what your purpose is, or what your vision is. You have to know that. You also have to figure out what your niche market is. Who are you catering to? Who is your demographic? Because you have to be able to provide specific products, services, content. For me, I am very clear on who my market is, right? I am a 30-something-year-old woman. I am a mother. I am a wife. And so most of the work that I do is catered to this demographic. It's catered to the woman who wants it all, to the woman who is ambitious enough to believe that she deserves it all, that she deserves to have a successful, fulfilling personal life, that she can be a mother, that she can be a wife, but that she can also be a successful businesswoman, and she can follow her dreams, and she can accomplish anything she sets her mind to. These are the women that I speak to. Why? Because this is what I know. Why do I know this? Because I am the living, breathing representation of that. Okay, I'm not going to fool myself into believing that I'm going to inspire a 20-something-year-old. Now, I may, right? But the reality is that most 20-year-olds are not in the space that I'm in. Most 20-year-olds these days are not looking to settle down. They're not looking to be married. They're not looking to have children. You know, your 20s is a very selfish age. So everything is about me, 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 me. And that's fine, and that's what it should be. You know, and so if I inspire a 20-year-old, that's absolutely wonderful. But that is not my market. Okay, I cater to the 30-plus woman because I want the women in my age group to understand that just because we're not teenagers, just because we're not in our 20s, that we can't still have dreams and we still can aspire to be great. So you have to be clear on who your market is. Who are you catering to? Guys, I can't even stress this enough, and I talk about it so much. You have to be clear on your vision. What is your vision? What is your purpose? Okay, and I'm going to leave you with these questions to contemplate and to think about, because until you're clear on who you are, on who you want to become, and what your purpose is, you're just going to keep going in circles. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to absolutely succeed in every single thing that you do. And I want you to be intentional in the things that you do and why you do them. Okay, stop wasting time. We always think that we have more time, but we don't. All we have is now. So focus on today. Focus on now. What are you doing now? So I'm going to leave you with these questions to ponder. What beliefs about myself prevent me from realizing my dreams? What things, words, or thoughts prevent me from believing in myself? And what steps, actions can I take to overcome this? So I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to think about it. I want you to write those answers down in your journal on a sheet of paper. And then I want you to think about how you're actively going to work towards making your dreams happen based on the answers to these questions. So once again, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for tuning in to this week of the Empowerment Hour podcast. Please connect with me on my social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter at I am Nancy Ruffin. You can find me on Facebook. And also, you can visit my website. I have tons of blog posts on there. That's where I list my events and all of the upcoming things that I'm doing. So that's www.nancyarroyoruffin.com. And I'm also in the process of planning our amazing Fierce Woman annual brunch and awards ceremony. Guys, if you have not purchased your tickets yet, but want to go, I encourage you to buy them ASAP. This event sells out quickly, no lie. And this year is going to be even more amazing than past years. So visit my website, check out my IG for the purchase link, and I hope to see you guys there. Have a blessed week and crush some goals.